Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, and I will find my headphones. Here, as I'm sitting in a new seat here tonight. There we go.
There we go.
There we go. Welcome in. We're trusting the process. I'm Zach Grady. I'm on the red carpet, baby. I'm on the red carpet. What's going on? It's Friday. Yes, we made it to a Friday. I'm going to fix my background here. Although, hey, make sure you're tuning in. Watch Allison on the red carpet. I think she comes on right after us, actually, or right around that same time. I should probably know these things.
If I remember correctly, she said she was planning on putting out the special episode that you and I both appeared on Monday to talk about SummerSlam. I think she said it was going out today, so...
All right, you want to talk about SummerSlam? I want to talk about SummerSlam. Ricky's not here to distract us from our childish, obsession with men in tights. There we go.
Yeah.
Hey, we're working on it, guys. Come on. What do we say here? What do we do?
We trust the process.
Nate John sitting in the seat. We're actually just getting back. So, folks, if you're wondering why we're all over the place here as we start up this evening, we spent all afternoon at the Pennsylvania State Little League Championship Tournament right here in Jenkins Township, hosted by Pittston Little League and Township Little League. And Nate, he's a superstar, man. We went over there. We were there all afternoon. People were coming up, shaking his hands. My man's the godfather over there. He knows everybody. He was getting me introduced to everybody, forgetting to introduce me to everybody. Hey, but it's all right. But no, Nate Johns, my man, I'm very proud of you. Very, very proud of you. Nothing but good words by everyone we ran into, and a couple of great baseball games as well.
Yeah, without a doubt. Of course, the winner's bracket final going on tonight between Blue Mountain and Newtown Edgemont as we are recording this podcast. And we're doing
No, we're not recording. We are live, baby, on Facebook. We are live on YouTube. You can catch us on the 2822 Now app.
Yeah, so that game's going on right now.
I believe Ricky just texted me. It was 5-1 BM, which would be Blue Mountain.
Wow, okay, yeah. Blue Mountain.
Yeah, so 5-1 Blue Mountain, I believe, is what he was texting. Yeah, because they were playing Newton Edgecombe.
Yeah, Newtown Edgemont.
Edgemont. So that puts them, if they were to hold on, they would play on Monday, correct?
Yes, they would advance to the championship game on Monday. We'll get a little bit of a bracket breakdown here as I pull it up on my computer.
Break it down, man.
But we will break it down. Blue Mountain, if they hold on to win this game, will advance to the championship on Monday, only needing to win one game to advance to the regional tournament at Bristol, Connecticut.
Mid-Atlantic Regional, one step away from Williamsport.
Yeah, and if they are able to pull that one off, that would put Newtown Edgemont back in action on Sunday in the Losers Bracket Championship against either Hollidaysburg, who knocked off Back Mountain 15-3 today.
They look good.
Yeah, they have.
They look
the
scary
offense.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah. Against either Hollidaysburg, who knocked off Back Mountain 15-3. We spoke with head coach Brian Welgus. Make sure to catch some of those comments tonight at 11. And then Eastside Little League, who knocked off West Point 5-4 yesterday. West Point almost mounting a comeback with a 2-run shot in the 6th inning.
You were there, right? You were broadcasting these games?
I was PA announcing.
Yeah, broadcasting these games.
I think about it like radio broadcasting.
Oh, okay.
That's how I interpret it, because there is a radio broadcast there as well and might end up there on Tuesday if there is a game, but Mother Nature has been oh so unkind to this tournament. They were supposed to play some of these games on Tuesday, and then
not just this tournament, every weekend here in Pennsylvania, Mother Nature's been unkind.
Yeah, I mean, Back Mountain and Newtown Edgemont were finally able to play Thursday on Friday at 5. That was the third attempt they have taken to get that game in. Tuesday, of course, everything got rained out. Wednesday night, the game was canceled, and they were finally able to get it in Thursday, and now...
And a big shout out to everyone who did help out with that. I know we got a chance to talk to Bob Bertoni, and we got to talk to Phil Shaner,
former WBRE sports director.
Yeah, let's hope I didn't get in trouble for putting him back on the air here. You never know how it goes. Much respect for Phil, but you never know. I feel like if I was back on the air at some of my old stations, people would be getting some emails, unfortunately. But maybe that's just me. It's probably just me.
Sure, we'll be fine.
No, that all being said, yes, we got a chance to catch up with Phil. Awesome guy. Got a chance to catch up with Bob, who was here on Wednesday. And they were telling us, Tuesday night, the field was underwater, basically. 6 inches of water. Left field still showing a little bit of damage. But the field looked amazing. The conditions there today looked great.
Yeah, one of the people that was there that I want to shout out that wasn't there today was Bill Kern. He's the head field. He runs a lot of the field maintenance up in the back mountain, and he's been down at this tournament. Had the 6-inch rain boots on the other day, making sure that the field was ready to go. They were there Tuesday, really all day long, trying to get the field ready.
6 a.m. I heard they were there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they had to drain the field. I believe they had to call up the Pittston Fire Department to help them get the water off the field. So a lot of work has gone into it, and thankfully the weather held off today. Maybe it's because we were there, but who knows?
Listen, the field looked amazing. The conditions looked great. I mean, you couldn't tell that it was underwater just a couple of days ago. I mean, we got a chance to check up with the ladies in the concession stand as well, and they were just going to town. I mean, it's not just hamburgers and hot dogs and what you would expect from a concession stand. I mean, I had a half a meatball sub today. That was just amazing. And then, yeah, I mean, there's food trucks. There's all sorts of stuff there. So make sure if you can get a chance, check out Jenkins Township Little League. Get a chance to check out the PA State Little League Championship as we get ready. We're on the road to Williamsport. I mean, we are on the road to Williamsport. Whoever wins this one, obviously, like I said, like you said, goes to Bristol, Connecticut for the Mid-Atlantic Regional. And then the winner of that will be headed to Williamsport for the 20-team tournament that is the Little League World Series.
Yeah, Pennsylvania, one of the stronger states in not only just in that bracket, but in the entire country. They're very well represented. I remember when I went 2 years ago, it was the Media Little League team, who, funnily enough, that Back Mountain team faced in the tournament back in 2024 it was. I feel old now, but
shut up.
But point being, Pennsylvania is typically well represented in this tournament, and whoever makes it out is going to have a good shot. I mean, Blue Mountain's got several good pitchers, as we're seeing. They're seemingly handling business against the Newtown Edgemont team that scored 15 runs across 2 games. Of course, Newtown Edgemont, John Ciroli, I hope I remember to say his name correctly, was throwing around like 75 to 80 miles an hour yesterday against Back Mountain. So a lot of good pitching. And then there's Hollidaysburg, whose offense cannot be stopped by anyone.
They were hitting bombs. They were hitting bombs.
Yeah, Hollidaysburg, who lost their first game 2-1 to Eastside. So we'll get that rematch tomorrow. Darren Molyneux with the 2-run home run in the 6th inning on Monday. So a lot of talented pitching and a lot of really talented offenses. So definitely get out there, catch some games, catch the highlights tonight at 11.
And get some great food, too, because I ate like a king today. I cannot complain. I'm very, very happy. It was hot.
Very.
Yeah, in fact, actually, I just ran back and I jumped in the shower. I took a ice cold shower just to... I mean, it was hot. I did what, 5 live hits today? 4:35, 6, 7. Plus, we did some stuff on social media.
Yep, which you can go see on the WBRE WYOU.
Yeah,
Instagram.
shout out to
JFL. What's the scoop?
Yeah,
ice cream truck.
Ooh, that was good. That was delicious. I cannot. Why did you turn down the ice?
I got ice cream there when I was there yesterday.
Okay, but why did you turn down the free shaved ice that they were going to give you? Not free. Not free. Complimentary, because we were doing a television hit. It was going to be thrown away. We're all objectivity aside. Yes. No.
Yeah.
Listen, it was hot. If someone's going to give me ice cream, I'm not going to change how I report on you. I'm just going to say thank you for the ice cream. But legit, what's the scoop? JFL, what's the scoop?
Yes.
Sorry, it's actually JFL_what_the_scoop. But as soon as you type in JFL, it pumps up. Make sure you like and follow. Check out that hit today. I mean, listen, baseball is about more than just baseball. You got food, you got family, you got the community aspect, and you saw a little bit of all of that today at Jenkins Township. And I mean, Bob Bertoni said it best: when you also have 2 teams from the area, from the 570 competing, you get an electrified crowd. And it was a great crowd. It really was across the board. I mean, the
Hollidaysburg.
Yeah, Hollidaysburg crowd was really good too.
Yeah, that's a little bit surprising. I mean, we've talked about on this show, we've joked about, Penn State intern, but they're kind of out my way. They're a team that consistently in the high school playoffs is contending for state championships at particularly high levels in 5A. And it starts with feeder programs like this. And that's what was, discussed with us over the course of the day, how a lot of these little leagues feed into middle school and high school baseball programs. And you're seeing that kind of success. Of course, Back Mountain feeds into Dallas, my alma mater. They went to the state championship back in 2023. You have Hollidaysburg, who's made their runs. The Philly school's always prevalent and in the mix when postseason time comes around. And this is where it all starts. These are names that you hear them now, and then you hear them in 4, 5, even 6 years when they're playing for their high school teams. Some of them even go off to play in college and even in the MLB. So a lot of great talent on the field, both at the state level, at the regional level. And it's a great excuse to go out and see some baseball and get some great food.
Yeah, absolutely. Not like anyone needs any excuse to do that. So, hey, we're going to come right on back. We got a lot more for you today on a Friday night here on 2822 Sports Night. Football still rolling as we get into day 4 of training camp in Latrobe and outside of Philly as well with the Eagles. We are nearing the trade deadline. So what are the Phillies going to do?
Pirates. I got the game on my computer right now.
Pirates talking about maybe making a move for a reliever as well. Plus. LeBron. Wouldn't be a week if we didn't get a little LeBron in tonight. So don't go anywhere. We're here for another 48 minutes here on the 2822 Now app. We'll see you in just a few moments. Hey, welcome back into Sports Night as Zach Grady here is sitting in the production booth wishing Ricky was back from his shoot because I now respect how many things he does at one point in time as I'm desperately trying to change lower thirds, make sure that the cameras are all right, and bring in some new guests, which I'm pretty excited about because I've been saying this for a long time. I've said that I want Sports Night to be a open door policy here. I want all the folks from the newsroom to come on in and have a say and have a little bit of a conversation as we elaborate not just here locally in the 570, but across the globe. And one of the biggest stories that has been going on has been because of the summer of soccer and the success that FIFA was as Scranton was it top 3, I think, in terms of fan zone attendance and everything like that. But I wanted to bring in Adrian. Adrian works in our digital desk. Adrian also works as an assignment manager here, making sure that all of our reporters know what they're doing, where they're going, and basically just got a lot of chickens with their heads cut off running around, and Adrian makes sure that they run in the right direction. But Adrian is a massive, massive football fan and someone who I've had some awesome conversations with over the weekends as we've gotten into the summer of soccer. And I know, Adrian, you have some real opinions on what's happened this week with UEFA, with FIFA, with CONCACAF, as they've gotten into it. So first and foremost, for the people who don't know what we're talking about, why don't you break down and tell us what happened this week and why this is such a big deal?
Yeah, well, first, thank you so much for the very kind introduction. But yeah, pretty much earlier this week, Gianni Infantino, the president of FIFA, the International Football Association.
I am president of all of you. I am president of soccer.
Yeah, essentially. He put forth a proposal that would essentially privatize the World Cup. This would be the FIFA Forward enterprise. It would be funded primarily by Joshua Kushner, brother of Jared Kushner, Donald Trump's son-in-law. And this would be a huge, huge private equity boost for the World Cup. It'd be essentially giving all of these nations that are involved with FIFA a big boost financially. It would be offering like 20 million, and it would be putting the World Cup into private investors. This caused a huge, huge, huge controversy because football is not for sale, as UEFA said in their statement. It's very similar to, if anyone is familiar with the Super League that was proposed several years ago, where they were trying to get rid of competition. Essentially, they were trying to put all the biggest teams together in one big competition. There would be no relegation. There would be no promotion. You would just buy in, kind of like American sports, but it's just the best of the best, apparently, and there's no real heart to it. The ticket prices would have been exorbitant, and fans wouldn't really have access to what they wanted to do. And that same issue is that people are having with the Super League is the same issue that people are wanting to have with the privatization of the World Cup, where they're worried that fans will lose access. With this, they're worried that private investors will want more. I mean, this was the most profitable World Cup of all time, by and large, but it was also the most expensive World Cup of all time because prices were really, really high for people. It was really hard for people to get to games. And when you offer this way of privatizing this and you're getting investors in, they're just going to want more money every time. That's how these corporations work. That's the nature of them. There's nothing wrong with that. But when it comes to football, which is such an international game loved by absolutely everyone, a lot of people would be losing access to the sport with this. And so that's where that controversy initially boiled up. UEFA, the football federation that is in charge of the 55 footballing nations in Europe, initially came out with a statement right after this plan was proposed, saying, football is not for sale. We will not be participating. We will boycott FIFA and everything that they do if this plan is not pulled back. And that boycott could have started as soon as next month with the Women's U20 World Cup, and UEFA nations wouldn't be participating. So like the biggest footballing nations in women's sports, that would be Spain, Germany, England, their U20 teams wouldn't be at the World Cup if this proposal was not pulled back. And as we just learned today, that it was in fact pulled back, but it caused a big problem for folks. And there was a lot of calls that this was just extreme corruption and an insult to a lot of football fans everywhere.
All right, so let me ask, first and foremost, why is soccer so unique in the fact that their fans have the power to make these changes? The fans shut down the Super League. The fans, and well, not just the fans, but UEFA's reaction.
Yeah, it's the administrators.
But this doesn't happen in the U.S. I mean, more or less, it's like, oh, the SEC and the Big Ten want to go play by themselves. Okay, sounds good. tickets cost $600 to go see Taylor Swift. Okay, sounds good.
And you just deal with it.
Yeah, but why is it so much different when it comes to this particular sport and this particular group of fans where they do have this power to control these things?
Because everywhere else in the world, it's not just a sport. It is their sport. It is the people's sport. This is the world's game where every single kid all over the world grows up with a ball at their feet, or their neighbor has a ball at their feet. Every single person is so involved and they care so deeply about this sport. And that's what makes it as beautiful as it is. And it's just so wonderful in that regard. And so when you have those fans who have such power and ownership over their own game that they love and play for, that's where you get these special moments where you see a proposal like this, where it doesn't matter how you look at it, it's controversial for a lot of folks, and a lot of people would lose access to the sport they love. I mean, it could change drastically as well. Like with this proposal, they're worried about more teams getting added into the World Cup, so then it's not so exclusive. They're worried about it happening more often because private investors might want more money with more tournaments. So it's losing what's making what makes the World Cup so special. And so that's where fans have so much power to say no, because it is truly the world's game. Football belongs to everyone. And all of the players, all of the administrators at all these clubs, I mean, they grew up entirely around the game, and all of these families. I mean, wars have been started over this game. So that's where you get a lot of that power from the fans.
Yeah, it's the only sport in the world where you could say there was a football war between Honduras and El Salvador. So I love the history behind all of that. But when you look at it from an American perspective, where so much of American sports are, run by billionaires, owners of clubs and teams that are only focused sort of on making money, it's really special to see in football and soccer where you can actually, where fans do have that voice and do have the power to rally their clubs and nations behind them to block things that are not in the best interest of the game. I don't know anywhere else in the world where you see something like that on any level of sport.
I mean, yeah, because globally there are still plenty of billionaires owning these these clubs and such. I mean, look at how many of the clubs in Europe are now being controlled by Saudi billionaires. But you also have clubs like in my family's country of Peru. There's a club that they were running out of sponsorship money, and so they didn't have a big shirt sponsor. They were worried about going under. Instead, they sold thousands of ads on their shirt. Their entire shirt is just blocks, tiny squares of local advertisers. And so it's all the locals, the people who really get to benefit. It's their team, because they can see, oh, my logo might only be an inch wide, but it's next to all of my neighbors' businesses. It's next to all of the people around me. And that's where they really, really care about this sport.
So what's next? I mean, I don't think we're going to get to a point 4 years from now where Spain isn't competing in the World Cup. I don't think we're going to get to a point 4 years from now where we won't see France or a CONCACAF group in the World Cup. So what is next?
So yeah, because CONCACAF came out and opposed it. AFC, the Asian Football Federation, they came out and opposed this. UEFA said they were going to boycott it if it wasn't pulled back. It has been pulled back, which means that this proposal is not going forward. But like with the Super League, there are still rumblings. There's still people saying, well, maybe we could still do this. And there's always going to be people that want to profit off of these sports, because I mean, look at it. With how many people care about them, you get so much money generated from them. So from that regard, it's still going to there's still going to be this push. Gianni Infantino still has his hands in everywhere with FIFA. He is Mr. FIFA, whether you like it or not. And so we don't know what it's going to look like in 4 years, but I can see the World Cup in Morocco, Portugal, Spain in 2030 just being totally normal. I can see next year's World Cup for the women in 2027 being totally normal. And then I think later down the line, we might start to see some bigger changes. But that's just the way the world is going right now, where a lot of corporations are able to get control over some of these sporting events like that.
I mean, all right. So last question here is before we head to break. And by all means, we're supposed to stick to sports. We're supposed to keep the politics out of it. We're not supposed to have this be an issue, but clearly there is some influence from the U.S. government and from the U.S. government at the highest levels. So at what point in time or how much power do the people have when ultimately right now the Oval Office is pushing for this to happen?
I mean, when you've got the president of the United States saying, I made a call and now a US player doesn't have a red card, that's just the level of it's reached that highest level. But at its core, football has been political from the very beginning. For hundreds of years, football has been political. You can have crazy right wing, crazy left wing. These teams that are so deeply rooted in politics. It's a very political sport because humans are political and football is human. So that's where we're going to get that change.
How much soccer has Donald Trump watched since the World Cup?
Since the World Cup, probably none because there hasn't been much played.
How much soccer did Donald Trump watch before the World Cup?
I mean, apparently he was a fan. I don't know. I don't know the guy, so I can't speak for him. But he's heavily invested. I mean, he is a businessman, and he's heavily invested in sports and heavily invested in what can make his family members money. And if Joshua Kushner could be profiting off of this, well, he's going to say, yeah, go for it. And he's best friends with Gianni Infantino, so he's going to say, yeah, go for it.
All right, so I know I just said last question, but all right, real last question then. That all being said, how much does this affect the men's national team? Or does it not affect them at all?
I mean, the the U.S. Football Federation, U.S. Soccer Federation, sorry, soccer football. But he came out and said, this was not talk. I did not get any say in this. I did not hear about this until this was proposed. I don't think this is a good idea. And with all of the CONCACAF nations that the U.S. is a part of saying we don't support this issue, I don't see much change happening. And the U.S. men's national team is also so tied closely to the U.S. women's national team. So, and that's going to still go forward normally next year with the World Cup in 2027. So I don't see too much changing for the U.S. men's national team. Really, I think the only thing that's going to change is we're going to see a lot of people viewing the men's national team differently after this World Cup, after you're getting a president making a phone call to overturn a red card.
I'm not viewing them any differently. They still suck. I mean, they're no different. After everything's all said and done, they got eliminated in the same exact place that they always get eliminated in the most ugly fashion possible. Yeah, I mean, they ruined any sort of goodwill that they possibly could have. The only way that the U.S. could have looked worse, they really couldn't. There's really not a way that they could have looked worse at this.
Yeah, they just rolled
World
over
Cup.
on their bellies for Belgium.
Yeah, it was bad.
Painful.
It was bad
Again.
Yeah, exactly. Again, it's the same old stuff. So, all right, Adrian, we greatly appreciate it. We got to get a second break in here. Don't go anywhere. Nate, Johns, and myself back after the break. We're going to talk a little bit more football from the American side of the pond as Steelers and Eagles are getting into day 4 of training camp. 28-22 Sports Night right here on the 28-22 Now app. All right, we are back here for the back half of 28-22 Sports Night on a Friday. It's Friday, Nate.
Last Friday, last
Yeah, I
day
know.
of July.
Oh my God, I cannot. How? How is it already August 1st?
I know. We were talking about it. We have 4 media days next week for high school and college football.
Yeah, I have no idea when high school football starts.
August 28th.
No, I know that, but I'm saying like if you go on to the PIAA website and you open up the championship calendar and everything like that, it says it starts on the 3rd. But if you call all the coaches, they're all like, no, it starts on the 10th. And it's like, well, we kind of told some people that we're going to be out on a football field at the 3rd. So can a coach call us and let us know what football field we can go stand on with them?
Well, heat acclimatization is the 3rd, so they have that week kind of to get back in shape, playing in
what
the
is
heat and
that?
humidity
Okay, so-
before practices officially start the week after, I guess.
So someone's got to be on a football field on August 3rd at some point, right?
Somewhere they'll be on a football. They'll all be on football fields for the most part. It's just a question of they're probably not going to be running it like traditional practices. It's just going to be mostly just conditioning.
Okay, that's
getting
fine.
back into
We'll
shape and
be
stuff
out
like
there.
that.
Just let us know.
Please let us know.
Yeah, we want to be live. We enjoyed it today. It was hot. Today was hot, man.
Oh, August is going to be the same thing.
I mean, I'm okay with it. It's just like you don't realize how much it takes out on you until you come back and you sit down for a little bit, and it's like, oh man, my eyes are closing. I needed to get a cup of coffee. As I'm yawning here, I'm literally having this conversation. Wow.
Yeah, it was 91 degrees when we were out there.
It was a good day though.
It was. It was a lot of fun stuff. It was a lot of good content as well.
Yeah, and hopefully we get a win out of Blue Mountain and the championship game on Monday, and we can be back there live again on Monday.
Yeah, if Mother Nature could stay out of the way, that would be nice.
Wow, you know,
We made fun of.
there's that whole issue of climate change.
That is true. It's real.
Be careful, man. We're in a purple state. Some people might get upset with us for saying that.
Well, oh well.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh,
He
well.
said it. The intern said it, not me. Blame the intern.
We've got 2 weeks left.
Blame the intern with just less than 2 weeks left. So, you know what also got less than 2 weeks? Less than 2 weeks until we have real football.
Yep, Hall of Fame game on.
I said real football, not Hall of Fame game.
That's still less than.
I know it is.
Today.
I'm going to gamble hard on that one.
For entertainment purposes only.
No, that one's going to hurt my bank account, I'm sure, because I'll bet on. Who we got? See if you bring up a spread for me. What do we
For
got?
the Hall of Fame game?
Yeah, we got Panthers and Cardinals, right?
Yep, let me see.
Obviously, no Bryce Young, no Jacoby Brissett. They won't play at all.
Carson Beck will probably play.
With his legs. Carson Beck with his legs. That was a great call.
It was. Current spread over under 36.5. Carolina -1.5.
Carolina -1.5.
Tickets as low as $35.
What'd you say the over-under was?
36.5.
I'm going to bet the over.
It's going to be close.
I mean, I
Those
don't have a
games
dog in the fight either way. I'm just guessing there's going to be some bad defense.
It's
You know,
true.
likely there's going to, I mean, I get it. The offense is going to be very vanilla. That's the problem. I
was
mean,
gonna
there's
say.
not going to be a lot of motion. There's not going to be a lot going on, but I'm hoping that maybe there's one or two breakdowns in the secondary.
Never underestimate the power of bad offenses, especially with Arizona.
Yeah, that's my only word. 36.5.
That's what I'm seeing.
So that's what, like 23-13 game?
Yeah. That's around there.
Ugh. They hit that number so perfectly because I know come fourth quarter it's going to be like 23-10. No, it'll be like
Yeah.
23-13 and they'll be like, "Oh, all he's got to do is kick this field goal." But no, it's the preseason, so we're going to try.
We're gonna
on four-
go for
yeah, we're
it,
going to
yeah.
go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had people, because like obviously I do work with sports. They ask me, how do those numbers get so close? And I'm like, they just run it through computers and simulations to get it as close as possible.
There's really
There is a
smart.
s- there
There's
is a
really
science
smart
behind
MIT people, like the people who
it's a
set the
computer program.
spread. It is somewhat, but there's the
Yeah,
people
it's work
like
with a computer program.
the sharks that set those spreads. They don't watch sports. They don't know anything about sports. They just know numbers. They just know math. They know algorithms. They know
Exactly.
patterns. They know
Trends.
back-to-backs, trends, and they get it so close. It's perfect every time.
Always.
for the most part.
Yeah, it's close enough every time to where they let people do it.
Yeah, it's the reason why the house always wins.
Yeah,
It's the reason why Vegas is Vegas.
yeah, they make their money back.
I mean, I couldn't name someone who would like go bankrupt owning a casino. Who would you know that would go bankrupt owning a casino?
We're gonna be careful about that, especially after my last statement. This segment's gonna get us.
I appreciate that you picked up on that, though.
Yeah,
All right, let's go to training camp. Before we get in trouble, let's go to training camp.
football.
Football is back, Jack. Sorry, I watched Levitard before I came in.
Nice.
Yeah, of course, that's not going to help after the comment I just made.
We want to talk about Pittsburgh or the Eagles?
What is more? Okay, no, you know what? Let's ask. Let me ask you this. What's a more interesting story this offseason? What is a better conversation to have between Pittsburgh or the Eagles? I'm wondering if either one of let me ask you this. If either one of them were on Hard Knocks this year, would that move the needle for you? Are you moved by the Seahawks being on Hard Knocks as the first defending Super Bowl champions?
I don't think
And I thought the Ravens did it as super defending champions, actually.
They might have. I mean, I don't think either of those teams are moving it for, like the Eagles or Steelers, are moving it more for me than the Seahawks would just because of the amount of turnover the Seahawks have had. I think both teams have their own interesting storylines. The Eagles have another new offensive coordinator in Sean Mannion, who's been getting a lot of praise from players at the start of training camp. And the Steelers, you have the obvious, Aaron Rodgers, Mike McCarthy reunion.
Okay, but
that people want to see.
So this is what you said. You said interesting story. No, they have storylines. Are they interesting storylines? They
Pittsburgh's is more interesting.
I have this argument all the time with Ricky. Like, I don't think that Pittsburgh's storyline is that interesting because here's the thing. Like, Pittsburgh fans are spoiled, man. Like, seriously. 17 straight winning seasons, however many playoff, like, come live like the rest of us. Come live where you're picking in the top 5 in the draft. Because here's the thing. Even teams that are really, really good have bad years, have years where it's like, oh, I can't even watch. That's never the case with Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's been the epitome of consistency in football
and it's
for
like
the entirety of Mike Tomlin's career.
And
Mike
it's
Tomlin's
like,
gone.
Okay, so that's the case. So let me see what a 5-12 season looks like for Pittsburgh and what those fans are going to do.
I know Steelers fans that want that are frustrated with being good enough to be a playoff team, but not bad enough to get a high draft pick.
Yeah, you either got to be really good or really bad. The problem with the NFL is if you're constantly in the middle, you end up being the Miami Dolphins.
And now the Pittsburgh Steelers, because McCarthy coming in keeps the floor where it is. So unless Rodgers gets hurt, which not wishing that on anyone, even then, Mason Rudolph has come in and won games as a backup quarterback.
Stop with Mason Rudolph.
I am not talking about Drew Aller, and I'm not talking about Will Howard. You cannot make me.
But you can't talk about Mason Rudolph as if he's the answer if Aaron Rodgers goes down.
But he's the backup quarterback. They're not throwing a second-year quarterback who they took in the 7th round. They're not throwing Drew Aller out there, who has gotten a couple positive reports, a couple plays here and there in training camp.
But Mason Rudolph can't be the answer either.
I don't think he's not the answer.
But how many years can you go back to Mason Rudolph and think that he is?
That's why he's the backup.
But they could have made a move for a better backup in a lot of this time. Because again, they've gone through so many in the past however many years, but they've all been the same guys. And most of them have all the same ex-girlfriend.
But Art Rooney II doesn't care. It's easy. It's comfortability. They know what to expect. That's why Mike Tomlin stuck around for 15 years, and probably 5 of those were too long.
If you win and have a winning record every season in the NFL, that's not too long. Because it's really hard to have a winning record.
There are a lot of Steelers fans who thought it was too long. There are a lot of Steelers fans who thought
you know what?
I
wish them a 3-14 season this year.
They would love that.
Come live in the world that the Jets live in, and then tell me you feel bad.
If that gets them Arch Manning or another top quarterback, they would take it.
No, Arch is going to be a Jet.
Maybe not Arch Manning. Maybe Dante Moore. If that nets them Dante Moore, they would absolutely
I don't think Arch
take
is
him.
going to be a Jet either, because if the Jets have the first pick, Arch will just go back to school again just to avoid the Jets.
There's a meme online. I'm sure
Dante
you've seen it.
Moore went back to Oregon this year because he didn't want to be a Jet. You can say all these other different things, but at the end of the day, the Jets had the number 2 pick. He would have been picked second, and he went back to school because, yes, NIL helped, the money with Oregon helped, and all of that said, dude didn't want to be a Jet. Simple as that.
Well, the Jets will be right back there again. He might be a Jet anyway.
All right, we got to take another break. We're going to come back, continue our conversation. We'll probably head to Philly. We're going to continue a little bit more with Pittsburgh, and I will do my best, I promise you, to not talk about the Jets. But don't go anywhere. 2822 Sports Night here on the CTV Now app. No, sorry, the 2822 Now app. I'm going to get in trouble tonight. All right, we're back in just a few moments. All right, we are back here talking black and gold, talking green and gray, talking the NFL, waiting to hear the that is the first scene of Hard. How good is that first scene of Hard Knocks?
So good.
Except for the one stupid year that they needed to start with Josh Allen driving to work. I don't know who thought that would be a good idea, but I hope that person was fired.
Sometimes you got to try new things. This was not one of them.
Not for Hard Knocks. Nothing new.
That's why I said this is not one of them.
Yeah, we need. Because every guy knows what that means.
Exactly.
Yes. Although I will tell you this, I have no desire to watch any of the other Hard Knocks. Like, I don't need off-season Hard Knocks. I don't need in-season Hard Knocks.
No.
I just need Hard Knocks for like 3 to 4 weeks in August because I'm in football withdrawal. And this is like, all right, cool. Because by the time, honestly, like the 4th week of Hard Knocks is rolling around, like I'm already in fantasy football mode. Like I could even be done with Hard Knocks at that point in time. But like the first 3 episodes where it's like, this is the only football you get. Like, yeah, you can intravenously like pour that into my veins.
Yeah, because it's right at that time where you're switching out of summer mode. Baseball's kind of taking a back seat, and you're ready for the football season to get here. It acts as a nice bridge from sort of the end of summer to the beginning of the season in September.
End of summer, and yet it's August 2nd. It's not even close to the end of
I-
summer.
you
It's
know
like
what
you
I
still
mean.
got all of August and most of September. But yeah, sure, end of summer because football's here, and everything else does not matter because football is here.
Yes, it does.
Okay, so you know what? Let's talk about something that does matter before we get back to football then. How many New York Mets are going to be on the Philadelphia Phillies or Pittsburgh Pirates?
I was going to say
Because the
team-
fire sale has begun.
I was going to say the team to watch for the Phillies has been the Toronto Blue Jays. The rumor going around is that Jeff Hoffman could be on his way back to Philadelphia after a couple of years there. Signed the extension and signed a 3-year deal with the Blue Jays last offseason. And then
You
game
rank
7
Kevin Guzman maybe?
Kevin Gosman as well is another name that could be thrown in there. as
No,
a
no,
fifth
I made
starter.
him Latin for some reason. Kevin Guzman. I made him the cousin of Carlos, or no, not Carlos. What's Luis Guzman? Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, but Kevin Gosman is somebody to keep an eye on. Dalton Navarre's show for their outfield bat. So a lot of names to watch from the Phillies going to the Blue Jays. And then for the Pirates, the reliever market is sort of where their focus has been. Of course, Dennis Santana got DFA'd with his 6 ERA after he tried to fight the New York Yankees. But it's just the question of what does that reliever market look like? Because Mason Miller is the big piece that is going to set off a ripple effect. And it sounds like
He's
the
not
Padres
going
aren't going to
anywhere.
move.
Yeah,
him.
he's not going anywhere. The Padres are in the wild card race. I mean, I could see the Padres picking somebody up before they move Mason Miller. But at some point in time, and this has been the question with the Padres for a long, long time, is when does the money run out? Because at some point in time, Machado, Tatis, all of the
Bogarts is bad contract.
yeah, and they're expensive contracts. At some point in time, they're going to have to move some of these guys. They're going to have to decide who do we want, who do we not want. I can't imagine Manny Machado is going to finish his career in San Diego. It's hard for me to believe that Fernando Tatis Jr. is going to finish his career in San Diego as well. But no, I don't see Mason Miller necessarily getting moved this year. And so that transitions to Luke Weaver. And that's kind of been the name for the Pittsburgh Pirates is Luke Weaver at this point in time for the New York Mets.
Yeah, that's kind of been a name that's been floated around for all of the teams in the Northeast corridor, we'll say. The Phillies have been mentioned there, although trading in division, as you said last week, going to be a little bit more difficult than maybe the Phillies want to do. The Yankees could present similar-ish problems, and then the Pirates are one where it makes sense. Weaver can act as the probably primary closer in that bullpen because right now Mason Montgomery has kind of been the setup man, but he's obviously more of a lefty specialist, being a lefty himself. So Weaver could slot in nicely for Pittsburgh. Of course, A.J. Minter got moved for a couple prospects yesterday, including a Mets legacy player.
Oh, well, yeah, Agbayani's kid. I love it.
Yes.
I mean, Benny Agbayani was one of my favorite Mets of all time. And again, it's not that he was one of the greatest Mets of all time. There's lore about Benny Agbayani. And of course, he did hit some big home runs in the postseason in that 99 run. But at the end, when it comes to whether or not Luke Weaver gets moved, yeah, the Mets are going to ask for a big number in return. They're asking for a lot in return because Weaver still has control. And Weaver's a 2-year deal. I mean, where you have Minter, who was going to be up at the end of this year, Brooks Raley, who's going to be up at the end of this year, they're willing to move them. I don't necessarily know that they're willing to move Luke Weaver because it's not like next year is going to be another rebuilding year for the Mets. They're just awful in general. Yes, I will admit that. But they don't try to rebuild. They try to always reload. So again, they're not going to come into next season, especially as Uncle Stevie's trying to build these casinos thinking, hey, let's, tank. No, it's going to be, hey, we got to get someone to go along with Soto. What are we doing with Lindor? They are going to be trying to win. So if you're going to get Luke Weaver from the Mets, you're going to have to give up a lot in comparison that if you're going to try to get maybe Brooks Raley from the Mets, who, that is a 6-month rental.
Yeah, players that are under team control beyond this year are always going to be a little bit more at the deadline. And it feels like a lot of the teams that will be selling off this year, like, of course, everybody's talking about the Mets. People are talking about the Royals. It's teams that feel their roster is still positioned to compete next year because the Mets still have a relatively strong core. You talk about Soto, Lindor, AJ Ewing, and Carson Bench.
They have a young core. They have a really good young core.
Yeah.
And at some point in time, you have to decide, are you going to build around that young core with Soto and maybe move Lindor, maybe move some of the... They tried to make too many moves this year, and it just didn't work out. And they have to address first base. They have to address second base. They have to address a lot of different positions because the moves that they made this year didn't work out. And it ultimately may be that because they are the few teams that are the seller teams, that a Philadelphia, a Pittsburgh does benefit from it this year, especially with both of those teams being buyers at the deadline, which is not often that you hear the Pittsburgh Pirates are buyers at the deadline.
Yeah, it's been a while, I think since 2017 with the Chris Archer deal, which that didn't go well. But the key is going to be where are teams going to find bats? Because the Mets can sell off the bullpen,
There's not a lot
Braziban,
out there.
Brooks Raley, yeah, but like the Mets don't have bats to move. Marcus
No.
Semien, Brett Beatty, Mark Vientos. Well, Mark Vientos is hurt, but
They're not bats that are going to get moved. And we talked about this yesterday with the Phillies because the Phillies need a right-handed outfielder. And there's one. There's one out
Taylor
there.
Ward,
No. Look,
Joe Adell.
We got to take a break here, but
We can continue this.
Yeah, we'll continue on the backside. But again, listen, at the end of the day, if the Phillies need a right-handed bat to play outfield, there is one answer, but that dude doesn't want to play in his hometown because people would actually know who he is, and he just wants to make $500 million and play in LA and never play in the playoffs. But hey, you do you, Mike Trout. We're going to take a little break because we got to come back, get one more in, and then finish up the show here for a Friday night. Yeah, it's going to be... All right, Nate, I know when you started here, one of the first conversations I had with you was about what your goals are in this industry, what you want to do long term. And I know play-by-play is a big thing for you. You've done it here at the Little League. Like I said, this man's the MVP. I hear there is a job opening with CBS for play-by-play. Are you going to throw your name in the ring?
Why not? What's the worst thing that could happen?
Get pulled over coming back from the golf course?
Yeah, that's up there. Oh, Tony Romo.
That was like...
That was one of the funniest body cam things I've ever watched.
Okay, you use this word funny. I was trying to come up with other words, but I mean, it was funny because...
I mean, of course, if you're suffering from issues of addiction and stuff like that, please
this
seek
doesn't
help, call an Uber.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. And Tony Romo should have just called an Uber, yes. But this doesn't feel like Tiger. This doesn't feel like addiction. And this feels like a guy who just tied too many on at the golf course.
Just covering our base in case.
No, I totally agree. And we're not making fun of
I know.
anything in this situation. And honestly, like, I think I don't necessarily think that Tony Romo should be suspended. I don't think that he should lose his job over this, personally.
I don't think he's gonna lose his job. I think it's going to be a case of they're launching an investigation into what happened because, of course, you can't just look past this. You don't want to look.
But okay, I agree. But in that regard, I think that if he has to come out and do I'm going to check myself and all the checklist of things you do, I think it lessens for the people who actually do have an addiction and have a problem and do need to go to check into rehab. I think that Tony just made a mistake, and sometimes people make mistakes.
It's part of being a person.
Yeah, absolutely. And like there's it was the funniest body cam, this and the other thing. But at the same time, there's some seriousness into it in the regard where, like, when the officer asked him, like, have you ever had a traumatic brain injury? Like that was funny because it's Tony, like, literally doing do you know who, yeah, not recently, but I played football my whole life. Like, my whole career was a traumatic brain injury. Like, that's just one of those ones where, like, I'm not saying you have to play in the gray, but you got to understand that Tony Romo's whole professional career was a traumatic brain injury.
Yeah, it's a tough situation just for everybody involved. The biggest thing is, thankfully, it wasn't worse.
Yeah, no one got hurt.
There's a lot of those cases where something completely bad and worse
it's amazing that no one got hurt with Tiger Woods. But again, when you watch that and you watch this, there is just a totally different feeling. When you're watching Tiger in that situation, you can see that that's a man who needs help. When you're watching this in this situation, you can see that Tony's just a dude who needed an Uber.
Yeah. He reacted to it the same way I opened with it, with him thinking it's funny. Oh, did I pass the test?
Yeah.
And put your hands behind your back. Well, I guess I didn't. So
yeah, he did. He really kind of had the same humor that he brings to a broadcast. So, all right, we got less than a minute left. What are you looking forward to this weekend?
Remainder of the Little League State Tournament at Jenkins Township.
Yeah, what games are you calling?
I'm not calling anything. Might be public address announcing the championship. We're going to see how the weather holds up, see when that schedule comes out, and get that all figured out. But make sure to get out to Jenkins Township, catch some of those games. It's a lot of really good talent. Like we said before, a lot of really good food.
Yeah, and I had a great time there, and I appreciate Bob Bertoni as well coming in earlier this week. If you get a chance, make sure you watch back our episode from Wednesday when we spoke with Bob about everything that's going on this weekend. So tune in. Like, subscribe, follow on YouTube. Like, subscribe, follow on Facebook, Instagram. And as well, make sure you're downloading Amazon, Apple, Roku. For Ricky Turner, who's been with us all week. For Nate, for myself, thank you again. Enjoy your weekend. Stay safe. This has been WBRE, WYOU 2822 Sports Night.